Tonight, we're going to drift through the hidden architecture of the invisible universe, a realm where 95% of everything that exists is entirely hidden from our sight. No one expects the world to be a ghost, but the numbers do not line up with our senses. We believe we live in a world of matter, of solid ground and burning stars, yet the light we see is merely a thin film stretched over a void that outweighs us 5-1. Picture yourself floating in the absolute center of the great attractor, suspended in a darkness so profound that the very concept of sight becomes irrelevant. Around you, the distant glow of a billion galaxies looks like a dusting of powdered sugar on a black velvet sheet. But these lights are a deception. They are the minority. They are the luminous foam riding the crest of a hidden ocean. You are drifting through a cosmos where the things you can touch, the atoms in your breath and the iron in your blood, are an anomaly. We are the outliers in a universe built from a substance that refuses to interact with light, a ghostly scaffolding that holds the stars in its grip while remaining forever silent. The scale of this invisibility is not a mere gap in our knowledge, but a fundamental property of existence. When we look at the night sky, we are seeing the 5%. We are seeing the glowing embers of a fire that is almost entirely extinguished, or perhaps a fire that never truly began. The remaining 95% is a dark sector, a vast and heavy presence that does not emit, absorb, or reflect a single photon. It is a continent of emptiness that possesses mass, a shadow that exerts gravity, a silent architect that decided where the first galaxies would coalesce and where the great voids would open. Think of the observable universe as a grand library where every book is written in an ink that cannot be seen. We have spent our entire history as a species reading the footnotes, the few stray marks of light that happen to smudge the edges of the pages, and we mistook those footnotes for the entire story. We measured the speed of the wind and assumed we understood the atmosphere, forgetting that the wind is only a reaction to a pressure we cannot feel. The 95% invisibility ratio means that for every grain of sand we can see on a beach, there are 20 grains of invisible glass surrounding it, shaping the coast, pulling at the tide, and directing the flow of the water. We are floating in a sea of dark matter and dark energy, two distinct mysteries that together form the invisible bulk of reality. Dark matter is the glue, the silent weight that prevents the spinning galaxies from flying apart into the void. Dark energy is the breath, the expanding pressure that pushes the edges of the universe away from us at an ever-increasing speed. As you drift further into this darkness, the silence becomes a physical presence. You are moving through the cosmic web, those titanic filaments of dark matter that stretch across millions of light years. These filaments are the highways of the cosmos. The visible galaxies we observe with the James Webb Telescope are merely the bright cities located at the intersections of these invisible roads. The space between the cities is not empty, but filled with this unseen mass, a gravitational ghost that dictates the movement of everything we know. We have lived for millennia, believing that the light was the map. We mapped the constellations, we charted the nebulae, and we calculated the orbits of planets, all while assuming that what we saw was the substance of the universe. We believed that gravity was a dialogue between visible masses, a simple attraction between a star and its planet, or a galaxy and its neighbor. But the light was lying to us. It was showing us the decoration while hiding the foundation. The reality is that we are the ghosts. We are the shimmering, fragile anomalies in a universe of dark, heavy silence. The atoms that compose your body are a rare occurrence, a brief flicker of luminosity in a cosmos that prefers the dark. When we calculate the mass of a galaxy, the math fails. The stars are not heavy enough to hold onto each other. By all laws of known physics, the Milky Way should have shredded itself eons ago, its stars flung like sparks from a spinning wheel into the deep. Yet, the galaxy holds. It remains a perfect, swirling disk. It is held together by a grip that has no face, a mass that has no light. This invisible weight is not a theory born of imagination, but a necessity born of observation. It is the only explanation for why the universe behaves the way it does. We are witnessing a cosmic sleight of hand, where the most important actors in the drama are the ones who never step into the spotlight. We are passengers on a ship where we can see the deck and the sails, but the hull is made of a material that doesn't exist in our periodic table. And the current pulling us forward is a force that defies every intuition we have about how space and time should work. As you sink deeper into this meditative drift, feel the scale of it. Feel the lightness of the visible world compared to the crushing weight of the invisible. The stars are not the masters of the void. They are the guests of the dark. We have spent our existence staring at the surface of a mirror, believing the reflection was the entire world, unaware that there is a vast, breathing entity standing behind the glass. And yet, for decades, we believed the light told the whole story. Expectation, a universe composed of the atoms we can touch, the gas we can measure, and the light we can see. For the longest time, the human mind operated under a simple, comforting assumption that the universe was made of things. We believed that the stars were the anchors of existence, that the glowing nebulae were the primary architects of space, and that if we could simply count every star in every galaxy, we would have the full ledger of the cosmos. We viewed the void not as a participant, but as a stage, a passive, empty background upon which the luminous matter played its part. In this version of reality, gravity was a straightforward conversation between visible masses. The more light you saw, the more gravity you found. It was a logical, symmetrical world where the map and the territory were one and the same. This belief was not based on guesswork, but on the rigorous mathematics of the early 20th century. In 1932, the astronomer John Oort looked at the Milky Way not as a collection of twinkling lights, but as a physical system with a specific density. In his landmark study on the density of the galactic system, published in the Astronomical journal, Oort attempted to weigh our home galaxy by observing the vertical motions of stars as they bobbed up and down through the galactic plane. He was looking for the invisible pull of the galactic disk, trying to determine how much mass was required to keep those stars in their orbits. Oort's calculations were a masterclass in classical astrophysics. He assumed that the stars he could see and the gas he could detect provided the primary gravitational anchor for everything else. His work suggested a cosmos that was largely consistent with what we could observe. He found that the density of the solar neighborhood was roughly consistent with the visible stars, reinforcing the idea that the universe was a place where matter was luminous. To Oort and his contemporaries, the cosmos was a predictable machine. If you had enough stars, you had enough gravity. If you had enough gas, you had enough mass. The equation balanced. The universe was a closed book written in the language of atoms and photons. We rested in that certainty for decades. We built our models of galaxy formation on the premise that the visible was the total. We imagined the Milky Way as a shimmering island of light floating in a truly empty sea, held together by the collective weight of its own brilliance. It was a poetic vision, one that aligned with our senses. We saw the stars, so we believed the stars were the masters of the motion. We trusted the light because the light was all we had. We believed that the dark spaces between the galaxies were merely gaps, absences of being, regions where nothing happened and nothing existed to pull or push. But the math of the visible is a fragile thing. It only works if the universe is as simple as it looks. For a long time, the discrepancy was too small to notice, a whisper drowned out by the roar of the luminous stars. We were measuring the surface of the ocean and assuming there was no depth beneath the waves. We were calculating the weight of the foam and believing we had weighed the entire sea. We trusted Oort's density calculations and the classical laws of Kepler and Newton, assuming that the visible mass was the only mass that mattered. This was the era of the luminous consensus, the belief that we lived in a universe of baryonic matter, the protons, neutrons, and electrons that make up everything from the iron in your blood to the helium in the heart of a red giant. We believed that the periodic table was the complete inventory of the cosmos. Every planet, every moon, every black hole, and every stray atom of hydrogen was accounted for in our understanding of mass. The universe felt finite in its composition, even if it was infinite in its scale. But as our instruments grew more precise, as we stopped looking at the centers of galaxies and started looking at their edges, the symmetry began to break. The calculations that had once balanced perfectly started to drift. The numbers stopped lining up. The gravity we observed was no longer matching the matter we could find. We were seeing a pull that had no source, a weight that left no shadow, a ghost in the machinery of the heavens. The cosmos was no longer behaving like a collection of stars. It was behaving as if it were being steered by something else entirely, something that did not emit light, did not reflect light, and did not block light. A presence that was everywhere yet nowhere. But the rotation of the galaxies began to whisper a different truth, expectation, a cosmos where the speed of a star is dictated by the amount of light it emits. For decades, the governing logic was simple. The closer a star is to the dense, glowing center of a galaxy, the faster it should orbit, while the stars on the lonely outskirts should drift slowly, like the outer planets of our own solar system. This was the natural order of gravity. If you have less mass in the periphery, you have less grip. The stars at the edge should be lagging behind, barely clinging to the galactic core. Reality, a violent contradiction written in the movement of the stars. In 1978, Vera Rubin published her research in the Astrophysical journal, and with it, the old map of the universe began to dissolve. Rubin looked at the spiral galaxies, observing the rotation curves of stars far from the center. According to every law of physics known at the time, these distant stars should have been moving at a crawl. They were too far from the visible mass to be held in a tight, fast orbit, but they weren't slowing down. The data showed that the stars were moving just as fast as the ones in the crowded center. They were screaming through the void at velocities that should have ripped them right out of their galaxies. By all accounts, the galaxies were spinning so fast that they should have flown apart eons ago, scattering their stars across the emptiness like water thrown from a spinning wheel. There was not nearly enough visible matter. Not enough gas, not enough dust, not enough burning suns to provide the gravitational glue required to hold them together. Rubin's observations revealed a missing weight, a ghost mass that did not shine, yet exerted a crushing gravitational pull. She proved that the light we see is not the source of the gravity we measure. Instead, every galaxy is embedded within a massive, invisible halo of dark matter. This halo is not a cloud of gas or a collection of dead stars. It is something entirely different. It is a substance that ignores the electromagnetic spectrum. It does not absorb light. It does not reflect it. It does not emit it. It simply exists, passing through us and through the stars as if we were made of nothing. To grasp the scale of this discrepancy, we must look at the rotation curves again. In a world made only of the things we can see, the curve of a galaxy's velocity would drop off sharply as you move outward. Instead, Vera Rubin saw a flat line. The velocity stayed constant. This flat curve is the signature of the invisible. It tells us that the mass of a galaxy does not end where the light ends. The luminous disk of a galaxy is merely a small, bright seed planted inside a colossal, dark sphere. We are forced to accept a humbling reality. The stars are not the masters of the galaxy. They are passengers. They are floating in a sea of dark matter that outweighs them 5-to-1. If the visible stars are the foam on the crest of a wave, the dark matter is the ocean itself, deep and silent and unseen. This invisible scaffolding is what allowed the first galaxies to form in the wake of the Big Bang. Without the gravitational wells created by this dark matter, the hydrogen gas of the early universe would have remained too hot and too dispersed to collapse into stars. We only exist because this ghost matter acted as a cradle, pulling the raw materials of the cosmos into the dense pockets where suns could finally ignite. This revelation shifted the very definition of what the universe is. We spent centuries believing that the void was empty, that the spaces between the stars were merely gaps in the architecture. Now we know that the void is the most crowded part of the cosmos. We are drifting through a universe where the dominant form of matter is one we cannot touch, cannot see, and cannot explain with the periodic table. The atoms that make up our skin, the oxygen we breathe, and the iron in the core of the Earth are not the standard. We are the anomaly. We are the rare, luminous exception in a universe of darkness. The 1978 findings were not a mere correction of a few numbers. They were a total inversion of our place in space. We discovered that the gravity holding us in our orbit around the Milky Way is not provided by the billions of stars we see in the night sky, but by a vast, unseen pressure that wraps around the entire galaxy. We are encased in a dark shell, a gravitational cocoon that dictates the motion of every star and the fate of every planetary system. And yet, as we map these invisible halos, we find that dark matter is not distributed evenly. It forms long, winding filaments, the cosmic web, stretching across billions of light years. These filaments are the highways of the universe. Galaxies are not scattered randomly. They are strung like pearls along these invisible threads of dark matter. Where the filaments intersect, the gravity is strongest, and the largest clusters of galaxies are born. The dark matter is the blueprint. The light is just the paint. We are living in a house where we can see the furniture, but we cannot see the walls. We can see the people moving through the rooms, but we cannot see the floors beneath their feet. Every measurement we take with our telescopes is filtered through this hidden reality. When we look at a distant galaxy, we are seeing a tiny fraction of its true self. The glow of the stars is a distraction, a shimmering veil that hides the true engine of the cosmos. The rotation curves of spiral galaxies were the first crack in the mirror. They showed us that the universe is far heavier than it looks. They proved that the darkness is not the absence of something, but the presence of something we do not yet understand. We have moved from a universe of light to a universe of shadows, where the invisible is the only thing that is truly permanent. To understand the scale of this ghost matter, we must leave the familiar behind. To comprehend the sheer scale of this invisibility, we have to leave the comfort of numbers and move into the realm of physical sensation. The human mind is not built to process the difference between 5% and 95%. When that difference is measured in the mass of 1 trillion galaxies, we see a star and we assume the star is the object. We see a nebula and we assume the gas is the substance. But the data provided by the Max Planck Institute for Astrophysics suggests that the light is merely a decorative fringe on a much larger, darker garment. Consider the luminous matter of the entire observable universe. Every burning sun, every swirling accretion disk, every grain of interstellar dust, and every atom that makes up every living thing that has ever existed. If we were to gather all of that light, all the visible stars and gas in the observable universe, and compress it into a single physical form, it would be nothing more than a single handful of sand, a small glittering pile of grains held in the palm of a hand. Now look at the space around that handful of sand. The dark matter does not fit in the palm. It does not fit in the room. If the visible universe is that handful of sand, then the dark matter is a desert spanning an entire continent. It is a vast, silent expanse of unseen dunes and hidden valleys that stretches beyond the horizon in every direction, untouchable and invisible. The sand in your hand is the only thing you can see, but the desert is what defines the geography of the world. The desert is what determines where the sand can settle. This is the true ratio of our existence. We are the few grains of light lost in a continental void. We have spent our history studying the sand, believing that the handful we held was the entirety of the landscape. We mapped the grains, categorized their colors, and measured their weight, all while standing in the middle of an invisible empire that outweighs us 5-1. When we look at the cosmic web, we are seeing the few places where the sand has clumped together. The great filaments of the universe are not made of light. They are made of this dark continental mass. The galaxies we observe through the James Webb Space Telescope are simply the glowing foam atop a dark ocean. The foam is what catches our eye, but the ocean is what moves the foam. The ocean is what carries the current. This realization shifts the very definition of what it means to be real. For centuries, the definition of matter was something that interacted with light, something that could be seen, reflected, or blocked. But the universe has revealed a different category of existence, a ghost matter that ignores the electromagnetic spectrum entirely. It does not emit light. It does not absorb light. It does not reflect light. It is a presence that is felt only through the heavy hand of gravity, pulling on the stars like an invisible puppeteer. The stars are not the masters of their own motion. They are passengers. Every orbit, every spiral, every collision of galactic clusters is choreographed by the weight of the desert. We are drifting through a reality where the most important actor is the one who refuses to step into the spotlight. Here is where the perspective becomes truly humbling. We often speak of the void as emptiness, as a lack of something, but in the dark sector, the void is the most substantial thing in existence. The emptiness is actually full. It is crowded with a substance that we cannot touch, cannot taste, and cannot see, yet it is the only reason we have a home to stand on. Without the gravitational anchor of the dark matter desert, the handful of sand that is our visible universe would have simply drifted apart long ago, scattered into a cold, featureless mist. We are held in place by a ghost. We are protected by a shadow. As we drift further into this understanding, we begin to realize that the dark matter is not the only hidden hand at work. It is the scaffolding, the silent architecture that holds the galaxies together. It is a force of attraction, a cosmic glue that pulls inward, creating the structures of the deep. But as the universe expands, a second, more mysterious force emerges: expectation, a universe where galaxies are isolated islands of light, drifting through a void of nothingness; reality, a cosmic web of invisible filaments that connects every corner of existence. As we drift further away from the familiar glow of the Milky Way, the structure of the cosmos begins to reveal itself, not as a collection of objects, but as a network. The Max Planck Institute for Astrophysics has mapped this architecture, revealing that the universe is organized into a vast, ghostly scaffolding. This is the cosmic web. It is a network of dark matter filaments stretching across millions of light years, acting as the primary gravitational highways of the deep. We have spent our history believing that galaxies are the protagonists of the story, the central figures of the celestial stage, but the data suggests a different hierarchy. The stars, the nebulae, and the burning cores of quasars are merely the luminous foam floating on top of this hidden ocean. We are the decoration on a structure we cannot see. The cosmic web dictates the fate of everything we know. It is the gravitational scaffold that decides where a galaxy is born and where it will eventually drift. Where these invisible filaments intersect, the gravity becomes overwhelming, pulling in vast reservoirs of hydrogen gas and dark matter. These intersections are the cradles of the cosmos, the dense nodes where massive galaxy clusters are forged. In the spaces between these filaments lie the great voids, continents of emptiness so vast that a beam of light would travel for hundreds of millions of years without encountering a single atom. Here is where the perspective shifts. We often feel the weight of our own existence as something substantial, but in the scale of the cosmic web, the visible universe is a minority. We are guests in a house built by a ghost. Every orbit of every planet, every rotation of every star is a response to the curvature of this invisible web. The dark matter filaments do not just hold the galaxies together, they guide them. They pull them along these unseen threads, dragging them toward the great nodes of the web in a slow, eternal migration. If we could see the universe in its entirety, we would not see a black void punctuated by points of light. We would see a glowing, interconnected lace of dark matter, a neural network of cosmic proportions, with galaxies clinging to the threads like dewdrops on a spider web. The light is not the substance of the universe. It is merely the marker of where the dark matter has gathered enough density to ignite the stars. We are floating on a scaffolding that does not care for light. It is a silent architecture that operates on a scale that defies human intuition. To move from one galaxy cluster to another is to travel across a bridge made of a substance that refuses to interact with anything except gravity. We are drifting through a reality where the map is written in a language we are only beginning to decode, a map where the lines are invisible and the destinations are determined by a weight we cannot measure. This realization brings a strange, quiet peace, the knowledge that we are not drifting aimlessly in a vacuum, but are held within a structured, interconnected web. We are part of a larger coherence, a gravitational symphony where the conductor is invisible. The luminous matter that makes up our bodies and our world is just a thin film, a shimmering surface reflecting the movements of a deeper, darker ocean. We are the foam on the wave, a brief flicker of light atop a foundation of eternal shadow. The cosmic web is the ultimate anchor. It provides the stability required for galaxies to form and for planets to settle into their orbits. Without this ghostly scaffolding, the universe would be a featureless mist, a soup of particles, expanding too quickly to ever touch. The dark matter provided the first seeds of structure, the first gravitational wells that allowed the first stars to ignite in the darkness of the early universe. We owe our existence to a substance that we can never touch. But as we drift through this network, observing the slow pull of gravity and the steady migration of galaxies along the filaments, we encounter a paradox. Gravity is a force of attraction. It pulls inward, it gathers, it builds. The cosmic web is the masterpiece of attraction, proof of the power of mass to bend space and pull the universe together. And yet, the measurements began to change. The expansion of the cosmos is not slowing down as the weight of the dark matter would suggest. Instead, the distance between the nodes of the web is growing faster and faster. No one predicted that the void itself would begin to push back. Here is where you come in, as a witness to a shift in the very nature of existence. For a long time, the prevailing thought was that the expansion of the universe, born from the sudden violence of the Big Bang, would eventually slow down. The logic was simple. Every piece of matter in the cosmos, from the smallest hydrogen atom to the largest supercluster of galaxies, exerts a gravitational pull. In a universe filled with mass, gravity should act as a cosmic brake, gradually pulling everything back toward a center, or, at the very least, decelerating the outward rush of space. But as the measurements emerged, the brake failed. The universe was not slowing down, it was accelerating. The void was not merely empty space between the stars, it was something active, something pushing. To understand the magnitude of this discovery, we look to the furthest reaches of the observable horizon, to the oldest light in existence. The Planck collaboration, in their comprehensive 2020 data release, provided the most precise map ever created of the cosmic microwave background. This is the afterglow of the Big Bang, a faint cold whisper of radiation that has been traveling through the vacuum for nearly 13.8 billion years. By analyzing the tiny temperature fluctuations in this ancient light, the Planck mission was able to weigh the entire universe. The results were a quiet revolution. The data confirmed that the luminous matter we see, the stars, the nebulae, the planets, and the people, makes up a negligible fraction of reality. Even the dark matter, the ghostly scaffolding that holds the galaxies together, is not the dominant force. The 2020 Planck collaboration findings revealed that approximately 68% of the universe is composed of dark energy. 68%. If the universe were a vast ocean, the galaxies we observe would be nothing more than tiny bubbles of foam on the surface. The dark matter would be the deep currents pulling at the water, but dark energy is the ocean itself, expanding in every direction, pushing the boundaries of the horizon further and further away. Dark energy is not matter. It does not clump together. It does not form halos or filaments. It is a property of space itself. Every cubic centimeter of vacuum possesses a constant energy density. As the universe expands, more space is created, and as more space is created, there is more dark energy to drive the expansion. It is a feedback loop of cosmic proportions. The more the universe grows, the faster it is pushed apart. The scale of this is difficult to hold in the mind. We are used to a world where things move because they are pushed or pulled by an object. But dark energy is a push that comes from nothing. It is the energy of the vacuum. It is a pressure that does not dilute as the universe grows. While the density of matter drops as the galaxies drift apart, the density of dark energy remains constant. It is the only thing in the cosmos that does not fade, and so the balance of power has shifted. In the early billions of years after the Big Bang, matter was dense enough that gravity held the upper hand. The universe expanded, but it did so with a stutter, fighting against the pull of everything within it. But as the voids grew larger, the influence of dark energy began to outweigh the pull of gravity. Roughly 5 to 6 billion years ago, the cosmos hit a tipping point. The acceleration began. We are now living in the Enderan, living in the era of the dark. The galaxies that are not gravitationally bound to us are now receding at speeds that are increasing every second. We are watching the cosmic web, that magnificent architecture of dark matter, begin to stretch and fray. The filaments that once guided the migration of galaxies are being pulled thin. The nodes of the web are drifting away from one another, moving faster than the speed of light can bridge the gap. This is not a violent expansion. There is no sound, no heat, no sudden crash. It is a slow, inevitable drifting, a gradual erasure of the horizon. The Planck data tells us that the fate of the universe is already written in the ratios of its composition. Because dark energy dominates 68% of the total energy density, the acceleration will not stop. It will not reverse. The universe is not a closed circle returning to its origin, nor is it a stable sphere. It is an opening door swinging wider and wider into an infinite cold night. The distance between the great clusters of galaxies is growing. One by one, the distant lights are slipping beyond our reach. We are moving toward a time when the Milky Way and Andromeda will be the only things left in our observable sky. The rest of the universe will have been pushed so far away that its light will never reach us again. The cosmic microwave background, the very evidence used by the Planck collaboration to find this truth, will eventually stretch until it is too faint to detect. The map of the cosmos is being wiped clean, not by a catastrophe, but by the simple, relentless expansion of the vacuum. We find ourselves in a strange window of time. We exist in the brief moment where the evidence of the past is still visible, and the total isolation of the future has not yet arrived. We are the observers of the transition. We can still see the glow of 1 trillion galaxies, but we know that they are ghosts of a connection that is already breaking. The invisible scale of the universe is not just a matter of size, but a matter of power. The dark energy that fills the voids is the ultimate architect, dismantling the work of gravity, one light year at a time. As the light fades, we are left with the silence of the deep. And yet, as we drift further into the silence, we must consider the nature of the ghost itself. We have spoken of dark matter as a scaffolding, a silent anchor for the stars, but the reality of its distribution is far more haunting than a simple structure. Expectation, a uniform cloud of invisible dust filling the voids. Reality, a cosmic web of impossible complexity, where dark matter forms vast, intersecting filaments. that stretch across billions of light years. In a 2018 study published by the Max Planck Institute for Astrophysics, researchers utilized high-resolution simulations to map this hidden architecture. They found that galaxies are not randomly scattered like seeds in a field, but are instead clinging to the intersections of these invisible threads. These filaments are the highways of the cosmos. They are the rivers of gravity that channeled the first gases of the early universe into the dense knots that became the first stars. Picture the scale of this invisibility. If the observable universe were the size of the Earth, the galaxies we see, every shimmering spiral and every glowing elliptical, where it would be no more than a scattering of fine grains of sand. The space between those grains is not empty. It is filled by the dark matter filaments, a sprawling interconnected lace that holds the entire structure of reality together. We are living in the bright intersections of a dark city, unaware that the roads connecting us are made of something we cannot touch, cannot see, and cannot measure with any instrument made of light. Here is where you come in. When you look up at a clear night sky, your eyes perceive the gaps between the stars as voids. You see the blackness as an absence of things, but the reality is that the blackness is where the true mass of the universe resides. The void is not empty, it is heavy. It is a continent of invisible matter that bends the very geometry of space. The European Space Agency's Dark Energy Survey has spent years cataloging the way light from distant galaxies curves as it travels toward us. This is gravitational lensing. The light does not move in a straight line because it is being warped by the gravity of something that isn't there. It is as if we are looking at a clear piece of glass, only to see the image behind it distorted by an invisible ripple. We are seeing the footprint of a ghost. This implies a staggering truth about our place in the cosmos. We have spent the entirety of human history studying the luminous minority. We have named the stars, mapped the nebulae, and calculated the orbits of planets, all while ignoring the 95% of the universe that actually dictates the rules of the game. We are like sailors who have spent centuries studying the white foam on the crest of a wave, believing the foam is the ocean, while the deep, cold currents beneath move the entire world. The invisible scale is not just a number in a physics paper. It is a fundamental shift in our perspective. It means that the atoms in your body, the iron in your blood, and the calcium in your bones are the rarest materials in existence. You are made of the exception. The universe is not made of stars and planets. It is made of a dark, silent substance that allows stars and planets to exist as mere ornaments on its surface. As we drift through this realization, the silence of the cosmos feels different. It is no longer the silence of emptiness, but the silence of a presence so vast that it defies our senses. We are floating in a sea of ghosts held in place by a gravity we cannot see, moving toward a future written in a language we are only beginning to translate. And yet, there is a deeper tension that emerges when we look beyond the ghostly scaffolding of dark matter and face the force that is actually driving the universe apart. Here is where the scale shifts from the invisible to the irresistible. Expectation, a universe that slows down over time. The logical assumption for decades was that the collective gravity of every star, every black hole, and every cloud of gas would act as a cosmic brake, gradually pulling the expansion of the universe back toward a center. Reality, an expansion that is not slowing but accelerating. This revelation did not come from a theory, but from a precise observation of dying stars. In 1998, two independent teams of astronomers, led by Saul Perlmutter and Brian Schmidt, used the Hubble Space Telescope to observe type Ia supernovae. These are stellar explosions with a consistent brightness acting as cosmic mile markers. The data showed something impossible. These supernovae were dimmer than they should have been, meaning they were farther away than the laws of gravity allowed. The universe was not just growing, it was sprinting. This is the signature of dark energy. While dark matter acts as the invisible glue holding galaxies together, dark energy acts as a repulsive pressure, a property of space itself that pushes everything away. If we imagine the universe as a balloon, dark energy is not the air inside, but a force that is stretching the rubber of the balloon faster and faster every second. To grasp this scale, we must look at the void. If the observable universe were the size of the Earth, the luminous matter, everything we have ever seen with our eyes or telescopes, would be smaller than a single grain of sand. Dark matter would be the soil surrounding that grain, and dark energy would be the atmosphere, the oceans, and the vast empty sky, stretching infinitely in every direction. We are a microscopic flicker of light in a dominion of darkness. The 2020 data from the Planck collaboration, analyzing the cosmic microwave background, suggests that dark energy now accounts for roughly 68% of the total energy density of the cosmos. It is the dominant player in the history of time. We are living in the era of the Great Transition, the moment where the pull of gravity finally lost the war to the push of the vacuum. This leads us to a quiet, existential realization about the deep future. As dark energy continues to stretch the fabric of space, the gaps between galaxy clusters will grow until they exceed the speed of light. One by one, the distant galaxies we see today will slide over the cosmic horizon, disappearing forever. The light they emit will never reach us, no matter how long we wait. Future observers, if they exist trillions of years from now, will look up at a sky that is completely black. They will see only the stars within their own local group, and they will conclude that they are the only island of light in an infinite empty void. They will have no evidence of the Big Bang, no record of other galaxies, and no way to know that they once lived in a crowded, bright universe. The universe is filing each event in space-time itself, erasing the evidence of its own origin. We are fortunate to exist in this thin sliver of time where the ghosts are still visible, where the light of other worlds can still reach our shores before the dark energy pushes them into the eternal silence. We are witnessing the final glow of the cosmic dawn before the long invisible night begins. The current of time carries us toward a final silent destination. We have followed the invisible threads of the cosmic web and felt the push of dark energy, but these are merely the precursors to the ultimate state of the universe. In the long arc of cosmic history, the acceleration we observe today is the beginning of the Big Freeze. This is not a sudden event. It is the slow, inevitable transition toward a state of maximum entropy. According to the thermodynamic models supported by the Planck collaboration and the laws of physics as we understand them, the universe is drifting toward a temperature that barely hovers above absolute zero. The Big Freeze is the conclusion of the story, where the energy of the cosmos is spread so thin that no work can be performed, no heat can flow, no new stars can ignite. For now, the universe is still in its luminous youth. We see the glow of gas clouds and the fire of fusion in the cores of distant suns. But the reservoir of hydrogen is finite. One by one, the great stellar nurseries will run dry. The giant blue stars, which burn through their fuel in a few million years, will be the first to vanish, leaving behind silent remnants. Then the smaller, redder stars will flicker out over trillions of years, like dying embers in a vast, darkening hearth. As the last stars fade, the universe will enter the degenerate era. The only remaining lights will be white dwarfs, neutron stars, and the cold, heavy hearts of black holes. These objects will linger for an unimaginable duration, but even they are not eternal. Hawking radiation suggests that black holes, regardless of their size, will eventually evaporate. Over a span of 10 to the power of 100 years, the largest black holes will leak their mass back into the vacuum in a final faint hiss of particles. When the last black hole vanishes, the universe will reach its lowest possible energy state. This is the heat death. The term is a paradox, for there will be no heat left to speak of. Only a thin, uniform mist of photons and leptons drifting through a void so immense that no two particles will ever meet again. The distance between these remnants will be so vast that the very concept of a galaxy or a star or a planet will have no meaning. The scaffolding of dark matter that once held the universe together will have no matter left to hold. The dark energy that pushed the galaxies apart will have completed its work, leaving a cosmos that is perfectly smooth, perfectly cold, and perfectly empty. The clock of the universe does not stop, but it ceases to tick because nothing ever changes. Time becomes a dimension without events. We are currently living in the golden age of light. We exist in the brief window where the universe is still warm enough to allow the complexity of carbon, the formation of proteins, and the spark of consciousness. We are the witnesses to the era of structure, the few who can look back at the cosmic microwave background and look forward into the encroaching dark. It is a humbling realization to know that the stars we see tonight are not permanent. They are temporary blossoms in a garden that is slowly freezing. The light we perceive is a fleeting gift, a momentary flicker between two infinities of darkness. We are the foam on a hidden ocean, as we have always been. But now we see that the ocean itself is evaporating. If 95% of the universe has always been invisible to us, and if the final state of all things is a cold, featureless void, do you think we are the anomaly of existence? Or are we the rule that the universe eventually forgets? Sleep well tonight, and tomorrow we will continue to explore the deepest mysteries of the dark